Welcome back to my channel, Callie's Kingdom, and today is a very exciting video because today I'm going to do a book haul! So, it was recently my birthday, so I got some books from that, and then I also bought a few books recently myself, so I thought I would come on here and show them all to you guys. So the first book I bought when I went on a trip with my friends and we stopped at Barnes & Noble and literally all of us at least got one book. I went in there saying, I'm not going to buy any books. I make sure I don't buy any books, guys. And then, of course, what do? I buy a book. But it's okay because I'm reading this book right now. So it's not like it was just another book that got thrown on my shelf that I wasn't going to read for a while. But this book is The Ballad of Never After, which is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And I wanted to get this book before, right after I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart, because I rated that book 4.5 stars and I really wanted to continue on with the series. So I stopped by a Barnes & Noble and they didn't have it. So I was so sad. But then my friend was recently reading the series and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get the second book. But apparently the second book ends on like a cliffhanger, and apparently I have to read the third book right after, so who knows what I'll do with that. I might just go to the library and get out the third book for now after I'm done this, so that way I can continue on reading it right away, but right now it's really good, and I am very close to finishing. I'm at page 310 out of 400 or so. So, this has been a really good book so far, and the cover is really pretty too. Don't mind this part. That was like a sticker on there that I pulled off, and we're going to see if I can fix that a little bit later. But the next three books are books that I got from my Friends of the Library bookstore. If you watched other videos of mine, you'll know about that because I talk about the Friends of the Library bookstore all the time because they have super cheap books. So I got these three books for like $7.40 some cents. So under $7.50 for three books, that's pretty good in my opinion. That's literally cheaper than one book would be nowadays. I think this book was like 11 some dollars, so it's crazy that I could get three for that price. And one being a hardcover. But the first book is called All the Tides of Fate, and I actually got, this is the second book in a series, and I actually got the first book before at the Friends of the Library bookstore. I haven't read it yet, but where is it? Here it is. But I thought that it'd be very nice to have both books in the series before I start reading it, and I think this first book that I got, it was $2, and then this book was $3. So, two books for $5. I actually don't know if there's only two books in this series, but hey, at least I have these first two, so if I end up really liking it, I can continue to read on. So the next book I got was Dune, and I actually really like this cover. I've seen a lot of different covers of Dune, but this one's really cool, and I like how floppy it is. And it was only $1, so I'm not sure. I've heard like a lot about Dune, and I know they made the movies, which I did not watch the movies. I'm actually not that big of a movie or TV show watcher. Like, I will watch sometimes, but I like books a lot better, as I'm sure a lot of you guys who are watching do. But I know that this is a very long book, and I'm not sure how I'll like it, but my friend is reading it right now, and I think she enjoys it, so we will see. So this was only $1, so I decided to pick it up. And the next book is The Midnight Library, and I've heard a lot about this book. I've heard that it was really good, and it was about this woman who I think she's at the end of her life or something, and she goes into this library, and each book shows her if she made a different choice in different parts of her life, what her life would look like, and that just sounded really cool to me. And also, this was only $3, and $3 for a hardcover book, I couldn't pass that up. And then these next 5 books are from my parents for my birthday, and I'm so grateful for them, and thank you so much. So the first book I got was Project Hail Mary. So I read The Martian by this author this year, and I absolutely loved it. I rated it 4.5 stars. Some of the, like, not engineering, but, well, kind of. All the sciencey parts sometimes got, like, long descriptions, so that's why, although I really enjoyed reading that, that's why it got knocked down, like, a little bit for me, even though I really enjoyed hearing some of that was just a lot. But I'm really excited to read another book, and I'm actually starting to really enjoy sci-fi. Well, I guess some of the sci-fi I read. I don't read too much sci-fi, but the ones that I have, I read this young adult sci-fi series, which has a little bit of magic in it, called Skyward, and I really liked that. I read The Martian, which I really enjoyed, and then I also, like, years ago read The Lunar Chronicles, which was sci-fi but also had some magic in it. But I think this is about a guy who wakes up and he doesn't have any of his memories, and he realizes that he's in like a spaceship, and that's kind of all I know. So I'm really excited to read this and go into it. And I read The Martian with my book club at school, and I think there was a girl in there who read this book and said it was really good. So I'm really excited to read this. The next book is actually by one of my favorite authors, but it's very different than her other books, and it's Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. Marissa Meyer normally writes a lot of, like, fantasy. She was the one who wrote Lunar Chronicles, who I was just talking about, which I love, and she wrote this book series called Renegades, which I also love. But this is a young adult romance, so it's very different than her other books, but my friend read it, and she absolutely loved it, so she recommended it to me. So here's Instant Karma. It has a really cute cover. My mom said it looks like it's like a graphic novel cover, but you know, that's just the style these days for some of the romances, and it actually blends in with my wall, so that's kind of funny. But I'm excited to read this because I have read a couple romances last year and I did enjoy them, but only a select few, and mostly young adult is what I like. So I'm excited to read this and see Marissa Meyer's writing in a whole different, not style, but a whole different genre than she normally writes. This next book is called Dragonfly Girl, and it sounded really good to me because it's kind of like a mystery type thing, but it takes place in a science lab where this girl, she accidentally brings like a rat back to life, but then their whole organization, it seems like there's something more going on there, and how do they have these powers to bring things back to life, and it's a whole mystery from that, and it sounded really good. And as someone who is studying engineering in college, although this isn't engineering, this is science, I always think it's really cool to have those STEM parts of the book, so. And it has a cool cover as well. Like, you can see that it's the dragonflies, but I don't know what the dragonflies have to do with it, because at first I thought she brought a dragonfly back to life, but then I read the back and I was like, oh, it's a rat, which I love rats, so fun fact about me. And then I read the Inheritance games last year or the year before, or maybe a mix of two, and I absolutely loved them. They were a 4.5 series for me, and then this is a spin-off series from it called The Grandest Game, where for the Inheritance games, there's a girl, and she basically, this billionaire gives her like all his inheritance, and she has to solve this mystery and do these like game type things to help figure out why she was given all the money. So now she's kind of creating her own games for people to compete in and win money. So I'm really interested to see what this is like, and I think it's following two different main characters, Lyra and Rohan. So I'm really interested, and this is also a pretty cool cover, so I'm excited. And then the next book, kind of like how I was saying I was getting kind of into sci-fi, this is another sci-fi book, and it's called Red Rising. And I've heard about this, I think, Haley Pham's videos, if she's another booktuber if you don't know her, but I really love watching her videos, and she's talked about this before and said that it was really good, and the premise just sounded really intriguing to me. I think they're on Mars, and there's this guy who lives like underground, and basically he thinks that they're trying to recall or like make Mars good to live on the surface, but then he goes to the surface and he finds out they already have a whole world there, a whole cities, and he was basically being like a slave underground, and it goes from there. So this is a whole trilogy, and I'm really excited to read this, and after I read the first book I might have to get the other ones, which goes for, I guess just goes for the other one that I was reading, because I think the rest of these are not, well, this one's not a standalone, but I think a lot of these are more standalones, which is pretty cool, so that way I won't have to, like, buy other books in the series. This one's not a standalone, but my friend said she didn't like the second book, so I might just treat it like a standalone. But, yes, these are all the books that I bought. This is just me trying to stack them up all nice, but they are not looking very nice right now. They're falling, oh no! But I hope you enjoyed hearing about my book haul, and now that I have all these books, I think that it is the perfect time for me to reorganize my bookshelves, take out all these books, and do a whole reorganization. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but that will be my next video, so stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!